Do you have your astrological chart all drawn up, but no idea what to do with it or what anything means? Well, you won't want to miss this episode of the Radiate Wellness podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Radiate Wellness podcast with your host, metaphysician, Reiki master, and hypnotherapist, Christy Clemens Hoffman. Each week, we will discover teachings, tips, and tools to radiate your best life ever with practitioners, authors, and luminaries to help you on your path. Wellness, joy, peace, abundance. What do you want to radiate?
Hello and welcome back to the Radiate Wellness podcast. I am your host, Christy Clemens Hoffman. Today on the podcast, we radiate astrological energy with Carmen Turner-Schott, a dear friend of mine and fellow Missouri girl. Carmen is the founder of Deep Soul Divers Astrology. She has been a practicing psychological astrologer for over 30 years and a licensed clinical social worker, author, and teacher with national and international clientele. She is self-taught and began studying astrology at the age of 16 and began doing consultations at the age of 19. Carmen is a best-selling author and has written many books, 11 books on astrology. The newest is Your Astrological Energy, Maximize the Power of Your Birth Chart, as well as Astrology's Magical Nodes of the Moon, Moon Signs, Houses, and Healing, Phoenixes and Angels, Mastering the 8th and 12th Astrological Houses, The Mysteries of the 12th Astrological House, Sun Signs, Houses, and Healing, The Mysteries of the 8th Astrological House, a practical look at the planets through the houses, and a deeper look at the sun signs astrology from a Christian perspective, and Astrology Awareness, a compilation of articles. Before we get into this fascinating discussion, I just wanted to thank you for being a loyal listener to the Radiate Wellness podcast. And if you would, you can help us out. So you can share this podcast with your contacts, your coworkers, your friends, your family. You can like and rate and review this podcast on your favorite platform that you're listening right now. And you can even donate to keep the podcast going. So there's a link in the show notes to donate to keep the podcast going. All right. Again, I am thrilled to have you here. I think you're going to enjoy this. Carmen's newest book is probably the most helpful astrology book I have ever read. And I think you're going to like this. Hello and welcome back to the Radiate Wellness podcast, where today we radiate astrological energy with my friend and fellow Missouri girl, Carmen Turner-Schott, who is the author of the new book, Your Astrological Energy, Maximize the Power of Your Birth Chart, out in August 2025. Hi, Carmen. It's great to see you again.
Great to see you too.
How many
Yes.
times have you been on this show now? What, 3? Is this
At least 3, maybe 4 times. Yeah. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, I'm so happy to. And after so many times here on the podcast and coordinating our book releases and everything, I'm so happy to count you among my circle and count you among my friends. And who is this you've got on your lap?
This is my Rosie girl, the
Sweet.
Cancer girl. Her birthday's this week, July 19th. So she's going to be 9. She's definitely a Cancer sun sign. She wants to be on my lap at all times, attached to the mother. All the astrological things work for dogs and animals too. So
It's really good to know. Did you do her chart?
yeah, I did her chart. The only thing is I don't know the exact time, but you can have a very accurate chart just with the place, year, and date. The houses will be off a little bit, but you'll know what sun and moon sign, their emotional nature, their main identity, how they think. She's a Cancer sun with the moon in Capricorn girl.
Oh,
She's particular. She wants things her way. Let me say that. She's the boss of the house.
that is so funny. So you have written now, how many books have you written? You've written like what, 10 books?
Yeah, I got 11 books.
11 books.
And I'll have 12 books after November. I got one coming out later this year. Now, when I first started, I self-published. So I self-published my first book, A Deeper Look at the Sun Signs. It was just a series of articles that I wrote about each sun sign, and I
Mhm.
didn't know what I was doing. And back then, it was Book Surge Publishing, and did that. And then I published my first Eighth House book about my research back in 2010, and then had another book I self-published. And then I started writing books and got a public two different publishers I use. And so yeah, I've just been writing for a while, doing astrology since I was 19. So it's my passion.
It sure is. That is amazing. And so, what sets this book apart? Your astrological energy maximize the power of your birth chart. So, what's different about this particular book?
So I've been wanting to write a book about energy because astrology is energy. And everyone always asks me, Carmen, why is this so accurate? Why does this validate me? And I tell them it's because it's energy. And it's just like when you come into the room, you feel an energy. The moon affects our energy. The full moon affects our emotions. It's all science, it's energy. And I wanted to write on a basic level on how to harness each of the 12 signs' energies because sometimes when I do a consultation for someone or a birth chart, they'll say, Carmen, I have no Aries or I have no water in my chart. How do I handle that? And you can tap in and harness the energy of any of the 12 signs. And so if you have like a favorite sign that you really respect them and you wish you were like, I kind of wrote this book so everyone can learn about how to harness those signs' energies and their strengths.
Okay. So, how can we
Mhm.
maximize and harness our strengths?
Yes. So, first of all, every sign has their element. So, if you're earth, fire, air, water, you really want to tap into the energy of those elements. You want to look at your big three. I call that the sun, moon, and rising sign. So, the sun is your main identity. It's how you show the world. It's your main personality. It's how people see you and you show them who you are. It's kind of your face. And then the moon is your inner nature. It's kind of that secretive nature that you have inside, how you show love, how you find happiness, how you find comfort, how you find joy, and how you show people you care. And sometimes people hide that side of them until they trust you. So someone's moon sign is often not seen until you really get to know them. And then the rising sign is the mask. When you first meet someone, you feel an energy. And so in this book, I talk about each rising sign, how you're going to perceive them, how they physically look, what their vibe is, right? So it'll teach you, a normal person, how to sense and understand the astrological energies. And I talk to people all the time that are very intuitive, and they're like, I don't know astrology, but I guess people's signs. Like when I meet them, I feel their energy. And I have so many people tell me that. I'm like, that's absolutely because you are empathic. You feel the fire element, or you feel the water element, or you feel the air, like they're intellectual, or the earth, the grounded. And then when you come to find out and do the actual birth chart, you're right. I had a lady just interview me. She said, I always know people's sun sign. Like, I'm like, are you a Cancer? Are you a Pisces? I said, well, what you're doing is you're feeling the energy. So I always say that everyone has intuition. It just expresses in different ways. Everyone has different talents and abilities, right? But certain signs have certain ways that they tap into their intuition or certain ways that they self-care and certain strengths. So, for instance, like if you're a Virgo, Virgos tend to be a little more shy. They love to talk and communicate and learn, but when it comes to standing up for themselves or speaking up and being very blunt and assertive, they don't really feel comfortable doing that when they're younger, right? Then people that are Aries are very blunt, direct, and they're all about telling people the truth. And so I always would be drawn to Aries because they're so confident and they don't care what you think about them. They just tell you the truth. And so you can become more like an Aries by learning about them, learning the energy, practicing the skills and traits of Aries. Or if you want to be more spiritual, you can learn more about Pisces. If you want to learn to be more laid back and easygoing, if you want to learn to be more adventurous, you can learn about Sagittarius, freedom loving, travel. You can learn in this book. Every chapter is about each sign, but unlike my other books where you just read about your Aries or your Leo or your Scorpio sun or your moon, I have everything in this book. So I have what it means to be the sun sign, all the planets in the sign, the rising sign, and the transits in the house and sign for each chapter. You're going to use every chapter of this book. Unlike my other books where you might just look up a friend or two and just read your own chapter, right, of your own sign. You'll be using this whole book to look up each of your placements. Like if your moon, you may have a moon in Capricorn in the first house. You're going to look up the 10th house chapter, moon in Capricorn, what that means, and you're going to look up moon in the first house, what that means. So you're going to use the whole book.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot because I always say that I know enough about astrology to make me dangerous.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yes.
actually really good at the sun signs. I was at the metaphysical fair this past weekend, and I would tell people if you are not an air sign, then I would be very surprised. And guess what? They're an air sign. Or if you're not a Cancer, you're doing something wrong, and right?
You feel it. You feel the energy. And that's what's amazing about it. And that's what makes people resonate with it and why it feels so validating to people because it just validates what you already know about yourself.
I think so. You read horoscopes, you read these
Yeah.
astrological, like a solar return. I mean, not a solar return. You read your chart and you get that done. And then you realize, oh my gosh, there's really is something to this. Yes, I have these preferences. Yes, I have these tendencies that I do. So
Yeah.
it's like so helpful.
It is, and we bring in past life patterns. We bring in different abilities and strengths and learning from different lifetimes into this lifetime, and that is the nodes of the moon. So the North Node sign is the sign that we're here to master. And the South Node sign is the sign we've already been. Our soul has mastered that sign. So we're here to learn to balance the energies of the nodes. The North and South Node, the moon is our soul mission this lifetime. So that's important to look. It looks like the North Node looks like headphones and it's like you're wearing headphones like a horseshoe in the chart, and that's something to know. And you can use this book with that too. If you print your chart on astro.com or whatever, you'll be able to get a free will, and you can look for that little horseshoe looking headphones thing in your chart, guys, if you're a beginner, and look at what sign the north node's in and what house it's in, because you can look up that sign in my book, whether it's Scorpio, and then if it's in the third house, you'll look up third house. What does third house mean? That's the area of life you're supposed to become a Scorpio in and express that. So everyone has a north node, and it's why we came here. It's really the most important thing in our birth chart.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Really? You think so?
Yes.
Even more so than a
Yes, way more, 100,000% more. I learned this just after years of doing charts and helping people counseling in my own life. I wish when I first started studying astrology, someone had told me that because back in the 90s, you didn't hear anything about the nodes. It wasn't a thing. And now it is. It's like, oh yeah, and this is why we're here. If you don't know anything else about your chart, you need to know your north node. That's the most important thing to at least know the basics of that.
Yeah, I know that you've been on this program before to talk about your book on the nodes.
Yes, yes.
Looking at my co-star right now to see if it
Okay.
tells me what my node is. Oh, this is fascinating. Are you on co-star, Carmen?
No, no, I've heard of it though. I've
I
heard of it.
love it. I have my friends on there and I check our
Nice.
horoscope every day, but
Yeah.
it does go into some detail about, I will look at that later. I thought it would be super
Yes.
easy, but it's not. I got to dig around.
That's all right.
I wish I knew what my node was in. That's cool. Now, you had mentioned past life lessons. And
Yes.
so when we are born, or actually before we're born, is that
Hmm.
something that we plan? Is like where our nodes are going to be?
Yes.
And understand.
Yes, absolutely. So, this is what I believe. I believe that when we're in soul form, we're in spirit form, we're looking to come into this realm, this universe, this material world at a certain time place where we our karma can be balanced. So, I believe we pick our parents. We're drawn to a certain area energy. If we weren't, we would not have been born at that place, time, or date. We're meant to be born when we're born, whether it's a C-section scheduled, whether it's a month early or late. I tell people there's a reason that it happened early because our soul wants to be born to learn certain lessons. And even twins can have a different emotional nature, even though most of the chart's identical, They may have a different learning with emotions and what brings them joy and how they love. And that's why twins can be very different in relationships, but they can be similar in every other way. But when we're born, that's the map of our soul. And the node is the most important thing. So, one thing about the nodes is this: in the sky right now, the nodes are right now in Pisces and Virgo. And the nodes change signs every 18 months. So if people are born a certain year during those 18 months, everyone born during those 18 months is going to have the same north node sign, same south node sign. So it kind of reminds me of when you think of group karma, how people reincarnate together, or families that you learn about in past lives and things like that. So it's kind of interesting because, like, all of my daughter's friends, her closest friends, they're all born the same year, and almost all of them have the same node. They're all here to learn the same thing.
Isn't that interesting? And I've noticed this from substitute teaching, which I do on occasion. And
Yes.
there will be the whole grade, the whole
Yeah.
cohort will have similar behavior issues,
Yes.
similar
Yes.
things that they're doing. Oh, that explains
Yes.
a lot.
That's why, because their souls have all been a certain pattern. They're here to repeat a pattern and to overcome it and learn the new pattern, which that's our North Node. We all have something we're healing, something we're learning to balance and let go of. So, another thing connected to our mission is Saturn. Saturn is karma in our chart. It's the teacher. It's fated, destined events. Whatever sign Saturn's in. Is it in a water sign, earth sign, fire sign, or air sign? That's very important because wherever Saturn is where we feel uncomfortable. So in the book, I talk about, you can look up what sign Saturn's in, what house it's in. When Saturn transits one of the houses in your birth chart, I share in the book what that means, what events and how you might feel during that time in that area of life. For instance, if Saturn is going through the seventh house of marriage and partnership, there can be, if you're not married, there can be a fated or destined kind of a relationship that teaches you a lot about love and yourself. You could get married during that transit. You could get divorced if there's problems that you don't work through, because Saturn brings lessons and it's not easy because it's karma, right? It's karmic lessons. So that's the importance of Saturn. And we all have a Saturn return at age 27 to 30. And
Yeah.
that's when we first start getting in our North Node. We don't even know why we're here until after age 30. We don't feel it energy wise until after 30. It's so interesting. And then by the time we're 57 to 60, that's the second time Saturn returns to where it was in our birth chart. We're in our soul mission doing it. Like, I've done thousands of charts, and people that are in that second Saturn return or over 60, they say, yes, that's what happened, and that's what I had to learn, and I'm doing it. I'm doing what I'm meant here to do. So we naturally get into our soul mission. It's energy. That's
Yeah.
why I love astrology's energy. That's why I love it, because these little events and these things that happen along the way are meant to happen to each of us to get us into why we came here, which is to learn the lessons of the North Node in our birth chart.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I
It's
went through my second Saturn return last year and it was so
it,
transformative.
it can be, it's like a complete rebirth, because it's a healing time too, but it's about change. It forces us to change things and adapt to the energy of what we're meant to learn. Some people have easy nodes. I always say some nodes are more difficult than others. And then other people, their nodes are pretty easy. I'm like, man, I wish I had those nodes. I kind of have the hard ones. It seems I have a Scorpio Taurus. So in astrology, I believe the most challenging nodal pair in your soul mission would be Aries Libra nodes or Taurus Scorpio nodes. And it could be flip flip, right? South or no, north node. And those are more challenging because Aries Libra nodes are the nodes of relationship karma. So your love karma. It's all about learn to balance your needs with other people's needs, your wants and goals with your partner's goals. And then Scorpio Taurus are the nodes of rebirth, change, transformation, healing, trauma, power, releasing, letting go, forgiveness. So you can see, and then some of the other nodes like Gemini, Sag are the nodes of knowledge. So that's fun. travel, learning. That's a little bit easier to me than those others, but everyone chose what they were meant to learn and what they want to learn.
That's wild. I have so many questions, so many questions. So it's really helpful to get the complete
Yes.
picture, isn't it? Right. So
Yes.
you have your sun sign, maybe your rising sign, maybe your moon sign. That's a start, right?
Yeah, that's the basics. That is not the whole you. I always recommend people get a consultation, a deep psychological consultation with astrologer that does psychological astrology, which is what I do because it's an in-depth therapy tool. It's a tool of self-awareness. That's what I use it for. And it digs deep into childhood and our patterns and our healing and who's our best match, where our strengths are, what careers are best for you, what's going to bring you joy and happiness, what area of life. And that's what's cool in this book because I do believe that, and I always tell people this, everyone has all 12 signs in their chart, in their soul, because every sign falls on one of those 12 houses in your birth chart. Even if you don't have any planets in a sign or in a house, you still have one of the 12 signs on one of the houses. So you can look at that house that Scorpio's on. Say you have nothing in Scorpio, nothing in the eighth house. You can look at the eighth house and you can look at where's Scorpio in my chart. Okay, it's on the seventh house. That's where that Scorpio energy will play out in your life. You can harness it, you can tap into it in that area of life. So everyone has all 12 energies in them. That's what I try to tell. You're not lacking or missing out on any of the signs. They're all within your soul. They're all in your chart.
Interesting. Now you mentioned something about it doesn't matter where you're born, doesn't matter how you're born, cesarean or natural birth. Now I know another astrologer who just doesn't like to touch people who were born cesarean because they're not
Okay.
their proper time or their own time of their choosing. But I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know if I really buy into that. What do you think?
no, no, I don't believe that at all because I'll give you a story. My daughter, she was supposed to be born. They told me she was going to be a Libra. She was going to be end of September. And the whole time I was pregnant, I knew she wasn't going to be a Libra. I told my husband she's going to be a Virgo. She's going to be born in August. I just had a feeling. I ended up having a high risk pregnancy at about 8 months and, I know, 7 month mark. And she was born a whole month early by C-section. They emergency C-section. And I knew, but I kind of knew she wasn't going to meant to be a September. I just knew the whole time. And it's kind of like sometimes things change too. This is my opinion. Sometimes things change once as things play out in the parent's life, the mother's life. The soul may choose, I need to be born now. There's a reason, like it's a rush. Sometimes they're late. It's like, are they ever going to be born? Because they're waiting, right? Because they're waiting for the right time. That's what I believe. But I know, but I believe in the Akashic records. I believe in past life. So I'm very into nothing is chance. I believe that things are destined, and if it wasn't meant to be, it wouldn't have happened that way. That's just what I believe. I
Well,
mean, it's not just a fluke, and it's not a bad thing. Like, don't touch them if they're no. I don't believe that.
no, no, even in a C-section or even when a child is induced, just to fit a parent's schedule, a doctor's
Mhm.
schedule, whatever it is. I mean, that exact moment they're born, even if you have a scheduled
Yeah,
C-section, that
yeah.
the exact time can
Yeah.
vary.
The soul would not have picked the parent. It already knew that that was going to happen.
I
We
think,
see, we already know our life, everything we're meant to experience before we come into the material world. That's what I believe. Because our soul knows. But when we come in here, we forget. We don't remember what we decided to sign up for. So it's like, wait a minute, why would I have chose to come here? But I do believe we do and we pick it and it's for our learning and growth. Like if you want to learn to be forgiving, what's the best way? There was a little book I used to read my daughter called The Little Soul in the Sun.
book.
I loved that, but and she and I it was about how before they came that they were going to hurt him. And they said, "Don't forget who I am," and all this. It was such a powerful story about forgiveness. But that's how what I believe that we don't remember that we made a deal or contract with people before we came in to balance out or learn something, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
astrology shows that. Astrology is in the record. The record, the soul record and astrology chart match each other. That's another thing I've learned through the years.
Say that again. I'm not quite sure I grasped
Yeah.
that.
So When I open up a soul record like the Akashic records, it matches the energy in your birth chart. It's identical. The patterns are there. The past life energy is there. The things with the node are in the soul record. It validates both are true. Both are similar. That's why I love Edgar Cayce. When he used to do his readings, he said astrology's fact, but there's no greater power than man's own will. So these things are patterns and energies, but we have free will and choice how we handle and react to these energies. You know what I mean? We're not a victim, but sometimes we feel that way. But once we know we have a pattern, we can break it, we can heal it, we can transform it if it's unhealthy, right? And that happens a lot. I used to have a pattern and I was very idealistic in love when I was younger. So I always got hurt and picked the wrong guys, the wrong people. And I had to learn that the hard way. And I'm glad I did.
Right. Well, when we do have free will, we need to have free will because that's how we learn. Dolores Cannon famously said,
Yeah,
"What
I
you
love
test if you already know the answers."
Yeah, I love her. I love her work. Her work is similar to what the soul records, the Akashic records. It's that library of our soul's history
Yeah,
is
and
in these records. Yeah.
I know you that you're a level one practitioner, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a level one, a QHHT. Yeah, and then I'm Akashic Records level two. And it's interesting because when I really realized this was when I met a friend. She was from Korea. It was many years ago, 20 years ago, and she is very intuitive. She didn't know anything about Western astrology, but she would tell me things. I would tell her about someone's chart, or she would tell me what she saw in their record. And then I would pull the chart up and it was identical. She's like, or we started really realizing. So I would analyze a chart, or she would tell me, and I would look at the chart and it validated. And that's when I got trained in Akashic Records because I wanted to learn more. And it's energy. It's all energy. That's all this is, guys. It's just powerful.
Yeah, I read Akashic records as well, and it's
Yeah.
yes, certain things are laid out in our records, but how
Yeah.
we deal with them, what we
Yes.
believe, what we think about them, those are the variables.
Yeah. And the symbols. That's why symbols, like I often will see symbols in the record. I don't know what they mean. I share them with the client and then they cry. They get emotional because those symbols are their symbols. And then it's the energy behind those symbols that has the meaning. It's like dreams, dream interpretation, which I love. Everybody that dreams about dogs, it may be different for each person, or snakes or whatever, because it's the energy behind the symbol of what it means to you. We know animals are habits, but some people love dogs. So if they dream about their dog, I know if I dream about my dog, it has to do with me on
Me,
a deeper level because I'm so connected to her. And it's about me, not her. And I'll worry she's going to get hurt or something happens or whatever. So you'll get to know your dream symbols, and it's because it's energy too. But everyone has to figure that out on their own, what the symbols mean for them. What's the energy behind them? And it's the same with astrology chart. It's energy. We know it's 100%. I know no matter what, when I see a certain placement or a sign, I know that they have learning and certain life lessons that are going to happen. I mean, some of it is destined where you can predict it, but how you react to it and can you change certain things? I always have people ask me that with astrology. Well, can you prevent things? Some things I do believe you can use astrology to avoid or prevent.
Mhm.
It's having awareness of the energy that what is the chances that this could happen. But most of the time, if something happens, it's destined to happen. It's going to happen because you're meant to go through it.
Right. Well, and I believe that, and maybe astrology bears this out, but I believe that when we create our plan for our lifetime, we decide, I call them exit points, how you're from Missouri, you're going to, there's like 5 different exits. You can take either one of them, any
Yeah.
one of them, you're going to get there, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
right? Does astrology, like when we're going to leave the planet, is what I mean, right? I feel like we have different dates that we select that I could
yeah,
go now, but no, I think I'll take the next exit. Oh, no, I think I'll take the next exit, right?
that's a whole, really, it's an ethical astrological question. It's a question of ethics. You can see things in the chart, but then it's like, should we share this with people? Because in astrology, you can see certain things that might show accidents or death or something happening big. So as an astrologer, I'm always careful how I share things. So let me give you an example. So when Pluto, the planet of death, resurrection, rebirth, change, power, cataclysmic upheaval, transits your fourth house of home and family, which I have had happen myself. So I know what happened to me in my life when that happened. And it's a very long transit. It lasts for many, many, many years. I just had a client whose Pluto was right there on the fourth house. And I knew I needed to share with her the energy coming. And I said, "Do you feel like a big change coming with home and family?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm kind of worried. I don't know. I have an unsettled feeling." And I said, "These are the potentials of what this energy could bring." That's how I say it. And then I say, there could be a loss of a loved one. There could be something happen in the home where you have to move, or your job changes and it affects the home and family, or your spouse has something happen and it affects you because you're living in a home sharing. She literally called me 3 days later after the consult, and her husband's father passed. And it right when Pluto went. Yeah. So we can see energies coming, but how it plays out, it can play out in different ways. And only God knows, only universe really knows how it's going to play out. But we can see the energies, the potential energies of what could happen. So I mean, because we astrology, we know what each house represents. And then we analyze the energies that are occurring in your transit chart, in your birth chart, how that's affecting you. And it's a powerful tool. It should be used to help and guide, and it's a sacred tool, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I know another astrologer who says that guard your birth information like gold because given in the wrong hands, people can
There's people are paranoid about that. They're like, don't give your birth in, but to do a chart, astrologer has to have your birth info. We can't do an accurate consult for you without your exact time. The time is so important and it'll change everything. Like I literally I did a couples consult yesterday, and as soon as I saw his chart, something felt off. I knew I thought his time is off. I just I just knew the energy. It just so when I got on with them, I said, are you absolutely sure about your time of birth?" I always ask people, "Who told you? Is it on the birth certificate?" He said, "Well, my mother said it's between 12 and 1."
Oh,
I said, "Okay, that changes things." So I was right. So messed around with a little bit, and not a lot changed within that hour. But the reason the time's important is that your rising sign can change every 2 hours. The rising sign changes every
oh,
2 hours.
yeah,
So that's your mass. So if you can narrow your birth time between a 2 hour time frame, we can get an accurate chart. And I have people, we call it chart rectification. I have people that call me, "I was adopted. I don't know what time I'm born." I'm like, "Okay, you have the date, year, place. Let's see what we can do." We ask questions. There's a whole process of it. And everything should validate your life experience. If it doesn't, we don't have an accurate time or birth chart. So it's not something that you just make up. You'll know if it's not accurate. The person will tell you it doesn't fit me. And then they'll find out, "Oh, I was born in the AM, not the PM." Happens all the time because it's energy. The energy changes, the energy shifts.
it does. I mean, it's so interesting that all of these planets have an energy that affects us
Oh,
when
yeah.
they're so far away. Why does this work?
Well, it's just like the moon affects the tides of the ocean. Our body's made up of mostly water. And then let's be honest, we're energy bodies. We have, I believe, in the different energy bodies that we have that surround the physical world. And like Kirlian photography, when I started studying that, how they cut half of a leaf off, take a picture, and the energy of the leaf is still there, even though the physical leaf is gone.
Wild.
It's just like us. And it reminds me, like, it's subtle. It's real subtle. When I was in college, I used to sit in the same seat every day in my psychology class, right? One day somebody was sitting in my seat and it bothered me. And I'm like, "Oh, they're in my seat." So I sat another seat and felt awful the whole class, like not comfortable and stuff. It's because you like your energy gets an imprint into the environment. And that's why you can sense people's signs because it's energy. How do you know they're cancer? Because the traits of cancer. A little bit of astrology. It's a water sign. They're sensitive, emotional, they're intuitive. You pick up on, or someone's very serious and grounded and makes you feel really, ooh, this heaviness. They're earth. That's how I am. I can guess people's top three sometimes. And I'm like, I have to be around you a little bit. Don't tell me your birthday. I'll tell people not to tell me. And then I try to figure them out. I tested this out all these years and it's so accurate. Sometimes I know instantly. Other times people fool me because if the rising sign's different than the sun or moon sign, what you see is not what you get. That's the mask. You have to really get to know them to see their other sides, right? Their other traits. And then we have the planet Mercury, how we think, how we communicate. That's big in relationships. We have the love planets, Venus, Mars. We need to look at where they're at. There's a lot that goes into it, but Mercury, for instance, goes retrograde. Planets go retrograde. And in 2025, we have a lot of retrograde planets, which is the big deal because it forces us to go inward and it makes things a little bit more difficult. It's like the energy's blocked. And actually, Mercury is retrograde the next 4 to 6 weeks, starts this week, actually. So communication, miscommunication, computers going haywire, things messing up, people misinterpreting what you say, forgetting about a meeting, all kinds of stuff. I mean, not getting a text or an email, not getting paid, the computer glitch or something. This is stuff that happens. It's science, it's research. Like it's like, and people at work that don't believe in this, I used to tell them at my old job, oh, Mercury's retrograde, guys, be careful, just be aware. And then they're like, Carmen, they start asking me, is Mercury retrograde? And they're like, I knew it. They realize it's true.
Mhm.
It's energy. They can feel the unsettledness of it. And we don't know what it, people that know astrology don't know it's astrology. They just know something's funky. And it's because it's energy. It's astrological energy. It's what it is.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Well, and I'm finding more and more places, locations, localities have their own charts as well. Like the United States has its chart. And
Yes. Yes. That's what's cool about astrology is that you literally can cast a chart when a country was founded. The US has its a United States chart. When the Declaration of Independence was signed, there's a chart for that. When you start a business, people ask astrologers, when's the best day, energy wise, for me to start my business? When to actually sign the papers, when to make it a business. I'm like, okay, when was the idea of the business? You look at all these things. When did you first have the insight or the intuition to do it? You can cast charts. And also, have you ever lived somewhere that you've or been traveling somewhere and you felt awful there? I know I have. And I thought I could not live here. I feel sick, or I always get a headache when I go there. And there's certain locations, and that's called astrocartography, locational astrology, because it's energy. So your chart's energy put on top of an area of the world, you have certain astrological aspects, which are astrological energies that are either helping you there, giving you good luck in that area, bringing blessings, or blocking you. And it may not be a good area to live. And so I look at where's the best cities, countries for people to live. They ask me, I want to find love. Where's the best for my happiness and home? Or where do I have good career success? And also, okay, where are you drawn to? First of all, I always ask the person, are you drawn to the water? Are you drawn to the East Coast, West Coast, Europe? Where they'll say, these are the cities that I like. So I'll put them in. And they love those cities because they've been there. And guess what? It's because they have aspects like good stuff there, Venus aspects, Jupiter, good luck and good fortune. There's something in those charts. It's energy. And then they'll tell me, I had a lady, I just looked at her chart. She was living in Paris and she hated it. She wanted to go back to the country that her and her husband were living for their whole life. She was miserable in Paris. She kept saying she was going to leave. She was going to leave. And even though his job was there, so he finally got a job and they moved. But when I looked at the location charts, all of her stuff there was difficult. Depression, feeling stuck, not feeling at home, all this stuff. And he was shining there. It was great for him. So everyone has places, you're right, locations that the energy affects you.
yeah, absolutely. Well,
Absolutely. It's so cool.
and this is why we need to have our birth chart drawn in the first
Yes.
place. And then your book, again, is Astrological Energy, Maximize the Power of Your Birth Chart. So I think this book can help us to just, if you're not familiar with astrology, to get a good idea and maybe look some things up and just see how it sits with each and every person. There's something to be learned here for everybody. And of course, this book is available on Amazon.com. I'm assuming BarnesandNoble.com, Goodreads.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and it's published by Llewellyn, which is a huge publishing house, and all this esoteric material. And then your website is
CarmenTurner-Schott.com. And then it's Deep Soul Divers Astrology is my Facebook page. Instagram, Carmen Turner-Schott, author. You can follow me and I post a lot of stuff, classes, things I'm offering. Love to hear from you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Perfect. We will talk more, my dear friend.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for joining me today, Carmen, and we will talk soon.
Yes. Thank you.
Don't know what to watch next? Decisions. Well, we've got some suggestions. You can click this little video here and watch that. It's something that we think you're going to like. If you like the last one, you're going to like that one too. You can also click on the subscribe button. And if you do that, then you'll get notifications whenever we have a new video up. Win-win, right?